Okay, guys, we're back. Apparently we had some audio difficulties. I think we've got it sorted now. Thanks for letting us know. Anyway, so I'm Alan. I was supposed to go home and take a shower. If you guys were watching earlier, when we talked with Stefan and Jesse Combs, I said I'm going to go take a shower and you can get that done. So I'm here. Miguel is suffering through my stinkiness and sweatiness, but that's just the way, that's the way it is. 2018. This is Miguel Galuzzi. For those of you who don't know, he doesn't like for me to talk this way, but in the world of motorcycle design and the design in general, Miguel is a legend. World famous motorcycle designer. And I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I need that for the people that are watching that have no idea who you are, because they don't, right?
Yeah.
When I met you, you came to the Handbuilt show, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe 4?
I think it was 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
and,
I think
and when
so.
you told me who you were, and you said your name, and I realized as soon as you said your name, I was like, holy shit, this is Miguel Galuzzi.
And then we started talking
and then we started talking,
so.
and then I think your poor wife suffered through 3 hours of us geeking out about design, and then we went into my office and talked a bunch. Anyway, this man co-designed the Ducati Monster.
That was 27 years ago.
27 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was 25th anniversary of the introduction last month or something like that. But it's been more than that for me.
And so for those of you who don't know, it's a big deal. The Ducati Monster is known and credited for single-handedly saving Ducati from a somewhat of a sales disaster back then.
Yeah, and it was fun the other day. I talked to Paul Dorlin.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the Monster, by the phone. I was in Italy. And in reality, the Monster was the first custom bike in production ever made. Because there were pieces of different bikes put together in such a way that it makes something new. So even though it was kind of, at the first moment, everybody said, but what's that,
Right.
Then it became the success became because, again, it was a very simple way to enjoy the ride in a motorcycle. Then was affordable too, which was also very good.
Yeah, compared to the other Ducati models at the time.
But the whole bikes at the time.
Yeah.
The other day I was reading an article about how the monocylinders in Europe in the 80s were big.
Right.
But then the Monster arrived, and for the same money you will get a twin.
And
so it killed all the monocylinders at the time in Europe. Yeah, that's something nobody thinks about.
Almost accidentally. Yeah.
For the same price you will get a twin. And the twin was much better.
So the people don't know the story. What was the idea behind the Monster when you kind of pushed this down everyone, right? On Ducati, and you said this has to happen. What was the idea?
Actually, the idea, it was born in a different company that I was working before.
Okay.
Because we were working at that time in all these full fare kind of bikes.
Right.
All plastics.
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah, of course.
80s,
Nothing naked, everything covered.
Everything covered, everything plastic painted.
It was so futuristic.
Aerodynamics was, or even cars were like that.
Yeah.
Everything soapy kind of shapes.
I don't know about you, but I remember the Ford Taurus and thinking the Ford Taurus was like the most futuristic thing ever in the 80s.
Audi,
right?
Audi
and
with
Audi,
the 100, the 80, everything, even the glass that would get, without any kind of, welding and stuff. So that was the set of mind that we were going on. And in the company I was working for at that time, we were doing all these things, and I said, and at one point I got a Biker Station magazine, Japanese magazine, that used to do these side views without the bodywork of bikes they would test.
Okay.
And that picture was the 851, the first generation, the first with the 16 inches wheels.
Beautiful bike.
And I said, I mean, you know, when you I mean, and I said, and I went, we had a copy machine, new copy color machine and stuff. When I did an A3, and then I did a drawing. I said, and I went to my boss at that time. I said, but this is the bike we should be doing.
It's true.
Go back to your desk and keep on doing what you were doing. So that sketch, stayed with me. And then when I then I changed jobs. I ended up in Cagiva. And I remember having this first interview with Castiglione, and I said, but this is the bike we should be doing. And it was the same. We started talking, and we talked about like 3-4 hours about bikes. And at one point I said, this is the bike should be doing. Yeah, maybe one day. That was 88, and by 91, the summer, I have nothing to do, and I asked my boss, can I go to Ducati and get some parts and put some bike together? Yeah, do something, go.
got an approval at least, right, to try. Yeah.
Kind of approval, because at the end, I was at that time, they were trying to fire me too, because I was, too...
Because everything was going this.
No, I was too much of a, as I said, a hammer. When you break too much of, people...
Yeah.
So they said me, okay, go. Then I put together the prototype, and then it stayed there. Because in reality, at the time, Ducati was not interested in naked bikes.
Right.
So after like 6 months, and this was very well into the 92, 91 and a half too, I convinced Castiglione to bring the bike into a meeting of big importers, they have in Ducati. And that day when we brought the bike in, that's when the story said, but where is the rest of the bike? It's going to come later. And that's, the rest, from that moment on, I think the importer from France, in that meeting, got up of his chair with a checkbook, and I said, Claudio, I want 1,200 of those. And everybody was like,
game on.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, the bike went in production. It was very easy to put in production. Went in production after the Cologne show in 92, in 93, and the rest is history.
It was a big deal. I mean, how many units did you, like that first fit?
I think they went over 300,000.
Wow.
I mean, they're still going on. So.
To this day, you can go buy a Monster for a few $1,000s on a twin Ducati that performs really well and for the most part, well beyond most people's ability.
Yeah.
And it's the iconic bike for me anyway. Right? It wasn't for me. I liked Harleys or whatever, but it was British bikes, and then I discovered Italian bikes, and I discovered the Monster and Moto Guzzis and all of that. Everything blossomed from there.
But in case of the Monster, there were, I think, 2-3 things which were important. The first thing was that the seat was very low.
Yeah.
So a lot of women could get into the bike.
Yeah.
Even short people, would get, with the feet on the ground, which seems stupid, but at that time it was very important. The price. And then the performance, it was an affordable performance for everybody.
Right.
You wouldn't have to be, crazy to ride, a super bike. No, anybody can ride that bike.
And it's still a fun bike. I mean, I've ridden bikes that have 230 horsepower, and I still get on a Monster and have just as much fun.
And that's kind of,
620 even, really, the small one. Yeah.
Even the 600, the dark, 600 was the best-selling bike for a long time, because it was the basic stuff you would need, to have fun.
So your genius was undesigning, right? Yeah, undesigning an overly designed motorcycle. And I think that was kind of what I wanted to talk with you about and share with people was that I think the reason you and I get along is obviously you're a nice guy, but also is our passion for design.
Yeah.
And the look on your face when we talk about it, right, is the same passion. And most of the time I end up talking to Miguel, I lose my vocal cords before we finish, and I have to go, and I have no more energy. But I remember we sat in my office, and you kind of explained the perspective that I didn't have, and that was that I was getting to design and prototype with Revival quickly, on the spot, without anybody telling me I couldn't do it, because of Stefan as an engineer, and because of Auerbach and these other guys that were able to. I could draw it on a napkin, and they could produce it in the afternoon, right? And when you're in a big manufacturer, you lose some of that.
Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you're satisfied because you see your work everywhere.
Yeah, but it's a different, again, in that case, it's pure positive energy what you're doing. The manufacturers, you have to go through so many steps, so many things that sometimes, as I always said, as a designer, it's very easy to get an emotion in paper.
Yeah.
As a designer in a manufacturer, to get that emotion in production, that's a different story.
Because everything starts to become a little bit
that's
more
a different
watered
story.
down.
Exactly.
And committee
even
involved. And
regulations, tests, things that make that emotion get, watered down. Which in your case, you are lucky.
There's no one.
You do whatever, again, that's pure emotion. And that's what it counts,
So the combination, we talked a bit in the beginning of this thing. Stefan and I introduced ourselves and what we do and how our partnership works. Whereas he was definitely the function part of our relationship, and I was the form. And I've started to be a bit more functional, and he's definitely become a much better designer in a form way. But that crossover has worked really well for us because I still stay somewhat isolated from how it gets made. So one of the things they wanted us to talk about tonight was the most recent bike that Revival just completed, which sounds a bit self-promoting, but I have to tell you that I released it and I knew that Miguel was going to see it. And I didn't talk to you before because I wanted to make sure that we could talk about this in person.
Yeah.
We were building pieces on that bike that looked like they're from space, and I thought, Miguel's going to love that exists, that it even happened,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So what did you think? I need your honest feedback.
I'm not going to tell you right now, honestly, because I haven't seen it. I see some pictures.
Oh, you haven't
only.
seen it?
No.
Oh, I love it.
So
yeah.
That's
you
why.
want to see the bike in person, you
Exactly. I've seen stuff, even I see a video running, I say, again, I give you an example. I went to Italy like 3 weeks ago, and I got these books from Paolo Martin,
Yeah?
which is the designer of the Lamborghini Modulo,
Yes.
1968.
Okay.
And I remember as a kid looking at this thing, and I said, nothing is the same after that.
Right.
So when you see that kind of stuff as the Revival 6,
Yeah.
it's the kind of thing your mind keeps on working. It doesn't stop there. And that's what
Yeah.
what design is.
Yeah.
It has to make you think. It has to make you,
I have
and then
to
it
say,
keeps on going.
So the story behind the bike was, since you haven't seen it, this is great. We were inspired. We were working with Bobby Haas, which is this new gallery in Dallas that he's been developing. And I had shared with him. He says that I was his gateway into motorcycles because I sold him like a mattress on eBay.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he came to visit us, and I showed him all these bikes he hadn't seen. He was into kind of Harleys and such. And he was already obviously very voracious and curious about this stuff.
Yeah.
But then I opened his eyes to all this stuff. Anyway, I remember sharing with him this book that a good buddy of mine put together with a friend, Ian Barry, put together called The Impossible Collection of Motorcycles, that big book. And in there was the Majestic. And the Majestic, for those that don't know, you should Google Majestic motorcycle. It was a French Art Deco bike built in the 30s and 40s, and incredible lines, incredible body, surrounding things. So the actual inspiration for that was the Majestic. And the reason that's funny is because it looks nothing like a Majestic. It looks, because it has no bodywork at all. So as we were designing the underpinnings of this bike that was supposed to be covered with an entire body shell, Stefan kind of overhit the mark. The mark was hub steering, make it look like it's floating, use the Honda 6 engine just because it's audacious and fun. And I want it to ride and function and do well. And then he made all these pieces that were going to be hidden beautiful. And then this conversation began where maybe we don't put a body on it. We started to make a body. Anyway, so what we built was an engineering piece that happens to be pretty.
But they happen to be, that's the thing.
To the right eye. Anyway,
exactly. And again, that's the point. When you start getting to a certain level of whatever you're doing, and you can stop. Because again, what you're seeing is already beautiful.
So what I told Stefan as soon as it was done and we delivered it to Mr. Haas, who loves the bike, I said, okay, that's it. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, let's just slow everything down from now on. Let's never try this hard. Not that I don't want to do great things. I just want to do things that are a bit more fun. That became so much work for so many people.
I can imagine, because even to make it run.
To make it work. To make it function and go to the track and handle. And obviously it's not meant to be a MotoGP bike. It's not meant to be a race bike. No. The skinny tires and the proportions and the huge, huge wheels and all of that. But to have that look the way it does and actually work,
that's the
work
point.
well, and for me to break 100 on it, right? Obviously that had plenty of power, but to have the confidence in it to do it was really satisfying. So I can't wait for you to look at more of it.
No, and again, as I see, I've seen videos, I've seen a picture little here or there.
That was me
and I look
writing
forward.
it.
I know, but I look forward to see it.
It's good.
And then we can start talking.
It won't be until next year. So Handbuilt Show 2019, you heard it here first. We're going to have the bike here, so you can actually look at it. He wanted it in his gallery this year because he's got a big opening coming, and I said, of course, absolutely.
Okay.
So there's plenty of other things here. The Handbuilt Show is not supposed to be just about revival. Certainly at the beginning it was like, well, we'd like to have some sort of event to promote our business. But then we realized that if we promoted everyone else and all the other builders, we would all rise together.
Everybody goes up. That's no doubt about it. I mean, that's what makes motorcycle world unique. And I was talking with somebody before. The motorcycle people are always, of a different kind. Without being, because we are very, on the ground. We walk on the ground. Yeah. And again, when we try to push ourselves, sometimes, we stop. Because we don't need
rather I would way rather have all these guys here to
Exactly.
inspire me,
Yeah.
because no matter what we've done, I've seen so many things that are so much more incredible than anything we've ever done.
And it gets, I mean, that's for me. I mean, I come here because I see stuff,
Yeah.
all over that it keeps my mind moving. And that's what this is all about, so.
I'm glad. So tell me, how's your Handbuilt show so far?
Well, I think, for what I've seen, it's getting better every year, no doubt about it. You may need more lights here and there, but
There's
the
some
place,
dark places in here.
Yeah.
This place didn't even have power when we started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
it has
no.
power, but not any distribution. So we had
No,
to run
but-
all this power. We own all of it.
But the whole place, I think, is better.
It's quite an undertaking. We've been in here for a week.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
good.
But anyway, so I'd love to know more about, like, what are you passionate in design right now? Like, I know that I don't care if it's motorcycles. What is it that keeps driving you forward right now in design?
Beauty. And that's, form right now to me becomes after beauty. Because I think we are going through a period in which, anything goes. I mean,
You mean in motorcycling or?
No, in the whole thing. I mean, even if I have my office in Pasadena, I have a window that I look,
I know, I've been there.
Colorado Boulevard. And if you stop by and you look at the cars,
Yeah.
cars used to be an emotional thing.
Right.
Right now, you don't know which car is which. And we are in the phase of creating all these lines all over the place just to make that shape that has been like that for 30 years the same.
Yeah.
So we are in a period in which we need, beauty, meaning pure, raw beauty.
Something that moves you. Yeah, something that moves you.
Again, we were talking about the modulo before.
Yeah.
And that was something that nobody could go through, but it's a very simple shape. There are two lines.
Totally true. Yeah.
And that's a big job. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not easy to do something like that.
So, I don't know about you, but what really started me on the focus of design as it pertained to the motorcycle or automotive world, because prior to that, I was into architecture, I was into just drawing, just artistic art, and I was drawing for the sake of drawing. But when I started to think about it as far as industrial design, which I didn't even know what that meant at the time, I thought that meant like mechanical engineering design,
Technical
right? I had no
drawing.
idea what an industrial design meant until I was out of college.
Yeah.
It was I happened to be given this car, and I have a Jag E-Type, and the E-Type was what changed my entire vision
Yeah.
for the combination of design and mechanics going together, and that performance and absolute beauty could go together.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I still say to this day, there aren't many vehicles, motorcycles or otherwise, that are built by any manufacturer, that is.
But you see,
That
and
do that.
that was my point.
Yeah.
I mean, in my case, I work for Moto Guzzi,
Right.
and we have a V7 that has been selling for the last 10 years.
Right.
But it's a bike that originally was made 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And still this design is so strong
Right.
that even today, it came back and it's good right now today.
Yeah.
So,
It's timeless.
and that's when
Yeah.
good design, that's why when beauty means is, even the RSV4,
Yeah.
it was done 10 years ago.
Still
And the bike today, I came back, from Kota,
Yeah.
and we presented the 2018 RSV4 with the wings and stuff, and the design is 10 years old, and it still, amazed people. So
You're proud of that.
that's more than proud, when we do good design. That's why I'm saying beauty, you say beauty means beautiful. No. When the whole thing lasts forever,
Yeah.
you're talking about the Jaguar, you talk
Yeah.
about the 911,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're
as
going
you
to
know, my
kill it
car.
there,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And then you talk about motorcycles again. Why? I was wondering this the other day. Why in the custom world everybody's doing, like old bikes? Do you
Instead
ever
of
wonder?
new?
What? No.
Yeah.
I mean, why are we not pushing ourselves to do what is going to come in the future?
Next. There's a few guys, and there's a few here even, but not many.
We are going to get there.
Yeah.
But we need to go through, going back to what it was basic and beautiful to go, into the future.
Sometimes I think that media and how people are getting things through the internet has actually affected a lot of that, because people are rediscovering things. So for me personally, I'll discover something and go, God, how did I not know about this? And then I know that the reason is because there was no internet.
Yeah.
because I wasn't going to get an encyclopedia.
Yeah, no.
I didn't read every magazine ever made, right, from 1910.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
now I can Google and find anything I want,
got everything.
or I read an article from someone like Paul, the vintage gent, or talk to someone like you who says, have you seen this? And then I discovered. But for the most part, it's the internet.
Yeah, yeah, that's the advantage, big advantage we
Yeah.
have. So today, as a designer, young, old, whatever it is, if you are talking about something and you are not aware of it, means you are not living this world.
That's right. Yeah.
Because today, as you said,
It's
you know,
everywhere.
Google or whatever.
Yeah. But
What
I think
are you talking about?
but I think that cycle of things is the rediscovering is happening.
that's right.
And now, I
then
mean,
you get into depth, and then you start discovering a completely new world.
so that hopefully what we hope to do with our entire company and team is to share what we have learned in the last 10 years with people that are 20, 30 years younger than us. Because even though I'm old now, in the motorcycle world, I'm not actually that old, right? There's guys that are 18.
You still have a long way to go.
Yeah. But I'm trying to bring in I really personally want to bring in people that are like 12.
Yeah.
You know, like into this thing because everyone's so afraid now. I mean, I had my first motorcycle when I was 5. And today, a mother's not going to give a motorcycle to a 5-year-old.
That's what
Not
we were
very
talking.
often.
You know, that's. I think that's the big challenge for us in the motorcycle world today is to bring the 10-year-old
Yeah.
into the motorcycle world in such a way like I was. You know, I was 7, 8, and I was able to ride everywhere. You know, with my motorcycle.
yeah.
So
Not
once
anymore.
you get that passion in your heart, then it doesn't go away. And today, the way we are, you know, living, this is not happening every day.
Yeah.
So it's more difficult to do.
Yeah.
You know, you see, that's why when I see Supercross,
Yeah.
you know, that they have these races with these little kids.
Yeah.
That's where
good.
everybody started.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's the beginning.
Well, I want to inspire people to realize that one of the things that meeting you and getting to know you really did for me was realizing that you are a regular person. I know that but you have to know that. I mean, you're modest about it because it's who you are. But when I met you, remember how awestruck I was that you were at the show.
No,
and then you
man.
spoke to me, and then over years realized that you were just a regular guy. You were a nice guy who cared just as much as I did about every single thing they did.
Yeah.
And that means that guys that seem superhuman to you when your perspective is off, you need to realize they're just guys. And every guy I know here, there's some really talented, amazing people here.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to them, almost all of them are just normal guys.
Yeah.
That just care a lot about what they're doing. That's it.
It's
their
true.
passion.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that's important. Meaning, I think the only reason we're doing this is everyone needs to know there's no scripting. There's just we're gonna sit down and have a conversation. Here's what you talk about, the word design. We knew that, and that was it because this is just a natural thing that we share with a whole lot of people and want to share it with many more. Sorry. I always get high about this sort of stuff.
No. But I mean, again, this is something from here.
Yeah.
So you don't have to fake it. So that's the good part. And I'm for all of that, you know. And that's when you are, as I always said, in my case, I was able to do from my passion my work.
Yeah.
You know, how lucky I am, you know, I can never, you know, say that otherwise.
What I like is seeing photos of your workshop at home. Because, like, I started obviously in my garage. Actually, I started in someone else's garage because I didn't even have a garage, trying to cobble together bikes. And there's photos of me that are really funny to me now, but how bad. I'm not that good as a fabricator. I'm not that good as I can design and draw, but I can't make things like Stefan or other guys can. And now that we have this shop where we can make whatever we want,
Whatever
pretty
you
much
want.
anytime. All I care about is getting back to my garage and tinkering myself and messing up and making ugly things alone. Right?
Yeah.
But I know your workshop, and when you're sending me photos of the stuff you're working on,
No, but
they're not spaceships; they're motorcycles.
My therapy, as I call it,
totally.
is restoring motorcycle.
Yeah.
Restoring meaning getting an old bike, taking it apart, understanding how they did it.
Right.
Because again, you know, and I told you, I got an 850 Guzzi like a year ago. I took it up 1974,
Right. Yeah.
and I took it apart, and understanding the way they were. Each part, you know, was interchangeable with other 3 models.
Yeah.
And I tell you one more thing, you know, which I discovered. When we did the Monster and we put the key behind the triple clamp,
Right.
we thought we were doing, you know, the incredible, unique thing.
Really? Because it wasn't up on the handlebars?
Look, the 750 Sport. was the first bike to have that.
You didn't even know.
My ignorance was so big, and that's the bike I had.
I know. I have a Le Mans one, and
That's
and my
the
T3
bike.
850 Guzzi. Yeah.
And those bikes from 72 all the way to 76, they got like 6 models, all interchangeable parts.
Yeah.
Even, you can, that's why when you understand that all these people at that time were thinking in that way, meaning that we're going to be able to do more stuff with less, that's only inspiration, So
It's good, and then, one of the things I love about Guzzi is I discovered that because I was riding a Triumph, an old vintage Triumph, and a friend let me ride his old Eldorado, and it felt more advanced. It was older. It was older than my Triumph, because in the late 70s, Triumphs weren't exactly on the edge of technology.
Yeah.
But the Eldorado was smoother, it was quieter, it actually kind of handled really well, considering, and I had to have a Guzzi, and then I got a T3, which I thought was amazing because of the linked brakes. Remember the linked pedal brake and all that. But I still see that same DNA in the Guzzis of today.
And that's the big challenge for us today. And sometimes, it's like a weight because we cannot push forward because people want that kind of thing.
Because like Harley, it's so rooted in their DNA to stay that way.
No, but it's more than the
Even
DNA.
they're taking leaps.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's more into what people want.
Yeah.
People want that kind of bikes. They look, and that's why, from a designer's point of view, you want to push forward. You don't want to go backwards, but that's the way we are doing it right now.
Again, you mentioned the 911 earlier. Obviously, I drive a 23-year-old 911. And what I loved about that car, specifically, I had the last of the air-cooled 911s, is it was the pinnacle of, they re-engineered that car for, at that point, 35 years. They've been making the same car with the same chassis, just making it a little better, a little better, right?
Yeah. That's good design, beauty in itself.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I went to Beverly Hills, stayed with a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and he let me borrow his 67 soft Targa, which is the back window comes out, right? So I'm
you
driving
got
this thing.
only
It's the only convertible, really. There wasn't a convertible back then. So I'm driving it and listening to that 2-liter air-cooled motor, and it feels every bit as good as my car that is 35 years later. But anyway, I just love the evolution of that, and I think that the V9, the new Guzzi V9 that we just built, it is not the same as a V50 from the 70s. It feels very different.
No, and I tell you, I love the tank. That's like, in itself is a piece of
I
art.
changed the tank. Did you see the one we just did? V9?
No, I saw.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you
no.
love our tank?
No, the tank.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you meant you loved the tank on the factory bike.
No, that's a factory bike.
You think it's
No,
fun?
no,
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
the bike,
but that's the point.
It's
That's
fun.
why you love. You cannot love. Yeah, that's great. So yeah.
Yeah, I haven't ridden it since we did it because we just finished it a couple days ago. But the idea is that you could ride that thing all day.
Yeah, the tail is a little bit fat, but doesn't matter.
But we're fat. I'm fat now. I've gained like 20 pounds.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
perfect for an old man like me. We're actually going to use that bike and rent it out to people to use it so they can ride a custom motorcycle and rent it at our store and enjoy it because it's meant to be used. It's not meant to look at. So anyway.
All bikes are meant to be used.
That's the way I look at them. That's the way I look at them. People, I'll be riding the Brush Superiors that are clients and, they're $500,000 motorcycles. I'm like, I know the guy that can fix it.
Yeah.
He works at Revival. Yeah, it's no problem. They have to be ridden.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, Alan.
man, I'm really glad you sat down with me.
No,
we need
no.
When the camera's off is when we get to use swear words again, and it'll really get heated.
Okay.
And we will critique every bike on the show.
Yep.
Right, and talk about our favorites.
Yep.
And go through it.
Yep.
Thank you guys for watching. I think Stefan's going to come on in a bit and interview someone. I can't even remember who it is. But again, this is the Handbuilt Show 2018 live broadcast, brought to you by BMW Motorcycles. The live stream is brought to you by Progressive. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to comment. I think that's it.
Thank you.